Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 SIS High School Student Council Esports Tournament. Today, we'll be playing League of Legends as usual, and we'll be featuring the semifinal match between SKT T1, which is the junior team, along with Seongnam Surfers, which is a senior team. And on the other side of the bracket, we'll be having Night League versus Go Next. And based on the outcome of these two games, we will also be commentating the finals.
We're going to be streaming the SKT T1 game versus Seongnam Surfers. As most of you probably already know, Seongnam Surfers has pretty much the best player in the entire school in Chotu Chris. He's known to be a very strong and potent ADC. He's able to farm extremely well, and he's able to scale, and basically all his team has to do is give him the resources to carry, and they're going to win almost every single game.
Definitely a match to look out for. Oh, but before we begin into the match, we have to introduce ourselves. I am Chris Shin. I graduated from SIS in 2020, and now I'm a student at Brown University, playing jungle for the A team.
My name is Andrew. I attended SIS from 2012 to 2017. I graduated in 2019. I go to New York University right now, and I'm just a casual Hearthstone Platinum player.
We all are. Well, I mean, the game will begin very soon. I think there's still a little bit of a technical issue.
Yeah, they're still trying to configure. They're still trying to get the game going on.
Any expectations for the game, Andrew? What do you think?
Okay, I think even before the drafts begin, I think this game is heavily sided into Seongnam Surface's favor, just because I think they have better players. Before, I have played scrims with them, and they were very good. They looked very good. They looked very coordinated, especially I think their jungler and mid laner had a lot of cooperation, and they were able to roam around the map, get easy kills, and then snowball with their lead from there.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure exactly who they will field for the jungler today, because they have two potential picks. They first have Kungsu, who is Dennis, and he can pick jungle champions like Kayn, or we could go with a more tank-oriented comp with Michael, who plays a lot of Zac, although he's a support main. And
if I had to guess,
yeah,
okay, yeah, you can go on.
Or I was just thinking, like, the theme of the game will drastically shift based on who they field as their jungler.
Okay. Personally, I think the jungler will be Maicho. I think he's going to just go with the Zac pick. Okay, so the draft has begun. Alright, we're expecting probably... Okay, Orianna gets banned. That's to target ban Shijang.
Yeah, that's a very good ban, honestly, because Shijang, when he gets Orianna, he can completely shift fights to their favor.
We're expecting a Caitlyn ban, for sure.
Yeah, Caitlyn ban just because that's his best champion.
Alright, second ban. I think second ban could be Zac, or maybe Yasuo.
For sure. Zac is actually played by both the Seongnam Surfers and SKT T1.
I think blue team might not have to ban Zac, mostly because Maicho also plays him, and so uses him to great effect.
Yeah, if they consider Zac as a high priority pick, they can pick it as first.
Alright, Senna ban, probably to target Brando Mango, who plays Senna support.
Pretty much just a one-trick Senna player.
And here's the Annie ban to target Flying Fly. Well. Yep. Now who will we see for a third ban?
I think third ban can be flexed with many different picks. I don't know.
I think maybe Hecarim. Hecarim could be banned. I think they'll probably ban. Okay, they ban Yasuo.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense. Like it's literally in his summoner name. I mean,
it's literally in his summoner name. You're right.
They banned
Lulu. And they ban Lulu.
That makes sense because Lulu can really funnel for.
Enchanter support's very annoying to play against. Very good for good ADCs or for teams that play around the ADC. So 20 Punkas is picking. Let's see who he picks.
He might pick for himself, considering that he is an Urgot main, but we'll see.
But he can also flex into support.
That is true. Let's see.
Dr. Mundo pick. Okay, so Mundo can be played as either a jungler, where he can farm extremely well, even though it is a little risky. Okay, in the Cassid and Hover, That's exactly
we
what
just
you want
got
to
note
see.
that Mundo represents Zac in this case.
Okay, Mundo represents Zac. All right.
So it makes sense for Maicho to go jungle now.
Okay.
Considering he plays Zac a lot.
Red team locking in the Kassadin. Kassadin's one of my favorite champions to play. Back when I was in North America, I spammed this champion, and
We just got note that
I hit
Kassadin
diamond.
represents Nautilus.
Oh wait, really? Okay.
Okay.
You know what? I'm kind of disappointed.
What is going on? So we got Zac for blue team.
Okay,
And
Zac
then
is
we
on the
got-
blue team, and on the red team, it's going to be Nautilus,
Nautilus.
and Vladimir is also okay.
Vladimir represents Zaya, which makes sense for either Blind Domingo or whoever the other AD carry is. I don't think Jerry's probably gonna go the Zaya pick, so I'm expecting an ADC for Blind Domingo.
Brandon Mango is going to be playing Zaya most likely,
sure.
and I think Yasuo's child is going to be playing Nautilus because that was the bot lane that they went with last time they played their sister team SKT2. So the Singed pick, again, we're not sure if
Okay, it represents
Singed is-
Alistar.
Alistar. Okay.
Okay, so just to keep track, we got Zac and Alistar for the blue team. And for the red team, we got... What's it?
Okay, Tristana represents Ezreal.
We have
Alright.
Nautilus.
And the Trundle, I don't think Trundle is going to be a replacement.
I feel like that represents something else as well. Oh,
I think it's
really?
just going to be jungle.
Okay.
Because last time, last
Okay,
time
Trundle is
we
Trundle.
saw Jaebyun pick the Trundle jungle, and I'd say it worked out pretty well.
Yes, that was an interesting match for sure. I think Jaebyun did get a little bit out jungled in the beginning, considering the CS lead, but they were able to push their lead top lane and then.
And
into their favor.
other than that, I think judging jungle, the term jungle difference just based on CS alone is a little inaccurate, especially with a champion like Trundle, who is mostly there to provide utility because he is very good at shredding tanks with his ultimate, and he's probably going to be taking press the attack, which will help his team do more damage to whatever target he decides to Q on, which will also reduce their AD.
Just gotta note that Gragas represents a Jinx ban, so not only are they confusing us with their picks, they're also screwing over the ban. Okay. Well, that is quite inconvenient, but we'll have to see. So blue side said they picked Ezreal instead of the Tristana pick, which is shown on the screen. Ezreal's just a great pick for Chotokrisu just because he can stay safe in the backline, dish out all of his Qs and Es, and make sure that they can't really do much.
And I think the Ornn ban is just an Ornn ban because Tony Puncas is known to play a pretty good
Yeah,
Ornn.
for sure. Ornn is just influential in the fact that his ultimate can just CC the entire enemy team with one ability.
Also, obviously, Ornn's passive is very good at giving champions that are ahead in his team an even bigger advantage.
Yeah, it's just a free item, honestly, just for them, and it's just great. Having Ornn on your team is a great utility pick, but they do have Mundo on their team already. Oh wait, no, the Mundo represents Zac, right?
Yeah, Mundo represents Zac.
Okay.
Okay, set equals Akali.
So
Akali is a very, very oppressive and annoying to play against champion for sure. One of my least favorite champions to play against personally. Yeah, that's all I can say. Akali will just she'll press Q onto you, she'll enter Shroud, she'll just go for the auto attack, and then she'll Q you again.
Oh,
and
the
then she can
Kiana
just
pick
all in
represents
you.
Kassadin.
Okay, the
great
Kassadin
scaling
is
pick.
coming out.
That's great, actually.
That's actually really good. I was really
I'm
hoping
excited
to
to
see
see
a Kassadin.
Kassadin like scale towards late game.
So we can already see that blue side is opting for a super late game team because they have the Kassadin, obviously. They have the
Ezreal, which also scales.
They have the Ezreal who scales somewhat. Maybe not as much of a hyper carry as something like a Jinx or a Kog'Maw.
That's for sure. But I mean, as long as he can stay safe and not get blown up.
As long as
fights.
I feel like as long as blue team can just do okay in the early game, I think
Right.
Kassadin can really shine.
And that's a Garen pick.
And the Garen pick will stand for Vayne. Okay. So they're
Okay,
going to now be transitioning into a regular blind pick game now that everyone has their picks, and we'll get into the game pretty soon.
What do you think about the team comps that were just provided on the screen below? What do you think about the team comps that were picked just now?
Okay, team comps. Let's see. Obviously, like I said before, blue team is looking to just scale as hard as possible.
That's for sure.
And I think red team is looking for a way to eliminate the enemy ADC as fast as possible because they obviously picked the Akali. The Akali is very good at diving into the back line while being untouched because of her shroud, and she can basically just look for an assassination onto Chris, which would be very good for the red team because, like I said, Chris is easily the heart of Songnam Surfers. The Trundle is probably there to counterpick the Zac because all what Trundle has to do is ult Zac when Zac procs Aftershock, and Trundle will not only gain those extra stats, Zac is going to lose a ton of stats. He's going to not only lose his tankiness after getting Ard, but after his Aftershock runs out, because it doesn't account for the amount that he already lost, he's going to end up losing even more, and Zac is just going to be as tanky as a piece of paper.
Yeah, I'm not too excited about the jungle matchup, to be honest. There's two tanks. I mean, I guess what we're really looking for is the team fights that will happen later on in the game with the with the Zac trying to defend for the ADC, because they have a lot of peel for their Ezreal. Ezreal obviously has self-peel with his E, but there's also the Zac pick, which can disturb enemies with his ultimate, and also the Alistar, which can knock up anyone in an instant. And also, like, the Darius is super tanky as well, so it's just great tanky picks just to provide for the AD carry.
We might see two variants of Darius builds, because the standard Darius build that I think most people would use is they would just go with they would rush Trinity Force, and then they would maybe go into something like a Sterex Gauge, and then maybe a Spirit Visage along with Merc Treads for tenacity. But there is an alternate Darius build where you go Black Cleaver, and then you go Sterex Gauge, and then you get a Gargoyle Stoneplate, because while Gargoyle would usually decrease the amount of damage you do by 60%, because Darius's ultimate is true damage. The true damage isn't negated by the passive of Gargoyle Stoneplate. So all what Darius has to do is he has to get into a fight, he procs Gargoyle, he tries to get 5 stacks, and then he tries to dunk on as many people as possible.
Right. It's always scary when the Darius can hit 5 stacks in a team fight.
It gets extremely scary. It's extremely scary.
So I think it's a double-pronged threat, honestly, with the Darius and the Ezreal, and obviously Kassadin coming in from late game. If the Darius can hit 5 stacks, he becomes the threat who can deal lots of true damage. And we obviously have the Ezreal that's like attacking from the back with his Q, W, and E abilities. And in terms of the Kassadin, we'll have to see if it is able to scale to late game. So I feel like if red side can stay proactive in the early game, try and find some picks onto the mid lane, and possibly top lane as well, I think they can get like a meaningful lead that they can transition into the late game. But we'll have to see if that is actually the case. Okay, it seems like the champ select is finished with the two teams getting their picks done. Looks like we have a Vayne top coming in, actually, from Shijang. Quite interesting.
Okay, now we have the, I think, 3 to 5 minute delay, because obviously it's to prevent ghosting. Let's take a look at these individual lane matchups. So we have Darius versus Vayne. Usually Vayne top is considered to be the bane of all melee matchups in the top lane. She is annoying to play against because she's obviously ranged. When you try to approach her, she can just either tumble away, or she can just press E and push you back, or maybe even do both. And once she's out of that, once you try to initialize a fight onto her, and you burn anything, and she's still away because of her range, she can now just start to chase you down. She can mow you down with her W, and she can just keep chasing you, and she can just end up killing you.
I think Darius will have to stay safe throughout the laning phase. If you can find an opportunity to ghost at the Vayne and try to pull him in to try and get an assassination, that'll be good. Right. But it's very risky in terms of the Vayne before Darius can get a few items at least.
So obviously Darius is going to be running Flash Ghost for sure.
Right.
You need that Ghost because you really need you really need another summoner spell to catch up,
Mhm.
and it's also a standard Darius summoner spell.
Right.
It would be interesting if we saw Phase Rush instead of the usual Conqueror, just because it's a ranged top laner. I know Phase Rush is a pretty niche keystone for Darius. Maybe it's good into picks like Nasus, who can just slow you. But I think against Vayne it'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll be decent for Vayne for sure. If you can get a small trade-off even slightly, I think Darius will have the mobility to kind of stick on Vayne despite her E and her tumble letting her get away multiple times. But we'll have to see if he goes Conqueror or Phase Rush. I would say probably Conqueror is more expected just because it's the standard build, but it'll be exciting to see.
Phase Rush could be cool.
Mhm.
And we have Zac versus Trundle. In a 1v1, I think Trundle will definitely win level 6.
For sure.
But I don't think both junglers are looking to duel in the jungle because obviously they're not hyper carries. They don't really need kills. They're probably just going to look for ganking and getting their teams ahead instead.
Early game, I think the key for Trundle is to see if he can get ganks off really quickly before Zac can get his massive range on his E.
Mhm.
Once Zac gets like a few points on E, he can just travel across entire screens, and they have to watch out for that. But the Trundle pick can gank very easily early game with his pillar and his buffing atmosphere, and we'll have to see if he can find some ganks top lane or even mid lane.
And we have Cassidy versus Akali.
It's Akali
I'd say
favorite, right?
I'd say it's even.
Really?
I would say this is an even matchup. Usually people think of Cassidy as a counter pick to a lot of AP champions, but personally, I believe that even when you're playing Cassidy into stuff like mages like Syndra and Zoe, or AP melee champions like Echo and Diana, I don't think Cassidy has a freebie. So as you can see, Cassidy has taken Flee for Work, which is which is the standard rune. It allows for a safer laning phase with sustain. And if he has Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter, it means that he can probably poke with Q, and he can gain back some health in short trades.
Yeah, I mean, Akali will be constantly looking for pokes throughout the laning phase with her Q. It's very easy for Akali to just step forward a little bit and try and poke Kassadin out. We'll have to see if Kassadin can find good timings for his Q to get his shield up so that the trades aren't entirely in Akali's favor. But I do think early game, most of the trades will be in Akali's favor. And finally is the bot lane. We have an Ezreal Alistar versus Xayah Nautilus matchup.
So Ezreal Alistar is obviously a pretty challenging lane to gank. You're going to have to commit a lot of resources to make bot lane ganks work because Alistar is very versatile. He can either be an engaged support where he goes in with WQ and then he presses E and looks for a stun, or if someone like Trundle decides to gank, Alistar can stop him in his tracks with his Q and maybe knock away Nautilus when Nautilus goes for the engage with his dredge line.
I want to see if they can find any creative routes to gank bot lane for sure. If Trundle can just stick around and not waste his pillar early on, before Ezreal gets a chance to use his E, I think ganks are definitely possible, but they are very difficult. If they can transition towards ulting the Alistar and then lowering his armor and resistances, I think ganks are definitely possible. They're not impossible, I would say.
So we see Cassidy with the Corrupting Potion. Personally, I'm not a fan of Corrupting Potion. I think against Akali, Doran Shield is just a lot better for sustain. But Corrupting Potion is still a pretty commonly bought first item for Cassidy, so it's not terrible by any means. But personally, I just wouldn't build it. I would instead just go for a Doran's Ring or a Doran Shield instead.
Yeah. For jungle routes, I would like to see Trundle just go for a 3-camp route. Just take blue, Gromp, red, and try to gank top or mid, if it's possible. And for the Zac, either a full clear or a 3-camp clear are both viable options, I would say.
So we can see Dennis look for a trade already, level 1, which might be a smart move, considering Vayne only has her Q.
For sure. Oh, Darius started W, I think, just for the quick trade. Which is a good idea.
Well, Vayne only had Q. She didn't have Condemn.
Yep.
It might have been an okay idea.
You can already see each of the lanes dishing out some damage, trying to farm up a little bit in the early game.
You can already see Cassidy is quite low on mana. He had to spend a lot of that mana just pressing Q for poke and for shielding Akali's Q return, as you can see right there.
We'll just see Cassidy just farming under turret and maybe freezing a little bit outside of turret range. But other than that,
Obviously, if Caston keeps the wave just under his tower, it would be very good for him. And he's using his Q again. Okay.
For him.
Trundle's already looking for something top lane.
Yep, as I said, 3 camp clear, very standard for the Trundle. We'll see if this game can...
Good pillar. Unfortunately, okay, Darius is forced to flash away.
Okay.
Vayne didn't have the condemn yet, which was kind of unfortunate. Because a cool interaction with Trundle Vayne is Trundle sets up the pillar, and then Vayne can just condemn them into the pillar, and that would make it very challenging to escape.
Yeah, added slows plus the stun, like it's just impossible at that point. But he does it. He's able to flash out in the end, so it's not.
Trundle is contesting Zach's blue buff.
Yeah, I think this is a good move overall. I mean, Zach has to.
I think it's okay. Yeah, Darius is low under tower. He has no flash.
Yep.
He has to choose between helping out Zach or getting minions.
We can already see
gigantic wave.
To the bot lane, yep.
Oh, Casting got that W. Now, okay, we see the all-in.
Okay.
Vayne has no flash, but I think Vayne will win this. Unfortunate.
In the end, because she just has too much health to begin
Unfortunate.
with.
Darius didn't have flash there. If he had flash, he could have hit Q and then he could have flashed.
I think I like the move overall, though. I mean, it's miscalculated, but I think it was fairly close. To the point where it's not all terrible.
I think Darius should have waited for the enemy minions to either die on the tower or get lasted.
Oh yeah, that's
because
true though.
The minions did pile up a lot of crucial damage in the early game that can easily sway early matchups.
That was a very close fight. Yeah, just one minion damage.
You see Trundle forcing Caston's flash.
Yep, this is what Trundle does early game, I think.
Yeah.
Puts down the pillars, forces up.
Caston is forced to recall already. Akali has a 10 CS lead. You can also see that Akali has the Ignite, so she is definitely looking to get a kill, especially after she hits level 6, where she will 100% just win the matchup.
I'm curious to see if they'll abuse the summoner spell difference on the Darius as well as the Kassadin just to try and get more games off. Now Vayne has a massive lead. She gets her Berserker's Greaves, she has 1 kill. The lane isn't a good spot for Darius though, so it's not all too bad, but... as long as Vayne can push the lead further, I feel like Vayne will have a pretty easy time in the laning phase.
You can see the boost of speed from Kassadin, along with the Sapphire Crystal. And presumably that's to just build Rod of Ages, which is a very good item, because even without stacking it over time, Rod of Ages is still a 96% gold efficient item. So you're not actually losing too much by buying the item early on. It's just that it becomes a super good item after you get the item and then you wait 10 minutes. You see Vayne has a giant minion wave. She's probably not going to freeze that because there are just too many minions.
Yeah, I would say Vayne just pushes it back, try to get the wave in the middle. You can get some free trades off with the Darius. Don't think it'll be too difficult.
Trundle is eyeing bot lane. As I said before, this is a pretty challenging lane to gank.
I don't think this will happen.
Yeah, it's not going. It's probably not going to work.
Way too much an overreach.
I think Trundle would be better off either just going for the dragon. He is level 4 and he's Trundle. He can do it. Or he can just maybe look at mid lane and look for a gank again. And maybe
what I like about Chris's gameplay though is that he always has to lane in a good spot. So he knows the jungler's there. He just
Unkasa gets a pretty amazing double knockup. Exhaust the Xayah. Xayah has flash.
Oh, that's the flash.
Alistar and Xayah both trade flash. Ezreal procs his Conquer. He gets the poke off. A favorable matchup.
But Trundle comes back in.
But Trundle comes, forces Ezreal's flash. Great hook on the Ezreal.
Oh, Jerry gets the great hook onto the Ezreal. Okay, Ezreal's forced to flash out.
Yeah, but like I said, the Alistar, man. The Alistar is so good at preventing ganks from happening. Okay, we see Kassadin finally starting to win some trades. But if Akali had just a little bit more HP, I think she could just force an all-in and kill him.
Yeah, but I think Akali will have to back very soon, just because she's very low. I think if she ends up staying, Kassadin can possibly get a solo kill off. You can find the right angle, that is.
So judging by the damage on Kassadin's Q, I think he is maxing Q right now. Now, if you watch a lot of very high elo players, like some of the best mid lanes. Oh, we see a fight going on. Darius is all-inning Vayne.
Oh, that's a critical.
His ult got cancelled, but he still gets the kill. The Triumph is going to make up for the minion damage.
Yeah. Darius ulting early was a mistake for sure, but I mean, it worked out in the end. Because he got
worked out in the end.
Yeah.
So as I was saying before, as you can see, Kassadin is definitely maxing Q. Now, if you watch a lot of super high elo players, like Knight, who plays for Top Esports, he instead maxes E on Kassadin, and then he maxes W second. And that's because the Q max is honestly pretty useless, except for laning phase, where you can just use it to poke. Instead, it would be a lot better of an idea to max E, because E is also area of effect, so it allows you to be more useful in team fights. And instead, use a W to do the extra damage.
I think if the goal of Kassadin is just to split push in a lane and try to hit 16 as soon as possible, the Emax is a great idea for that. Just because he has the damage in case he gets ganked or whatever. But Q is only good for poking in early games, so I mean, it does make sense considering it's an Akali lane. It's very impressive. I feel like he needs some kind of damage just to stay alive.
I think against a heavy AP matchup, I think it would just be better instead to maybe get 2 points in Q just for the safety early on, and then just go for the Emax.
Oh, we have a gank coming in top lane possibly, but
Trundle is overextending. Trundle has flash. He gets hooked.
Trundle's here, but none of his teammates are there.
Trundle has to flash out. He's going to be out because he has Nimbus Cloak.
Okay, but
okay, we see Alistar knock up the Xayah.
I want to see this bot lane happening.
The camera.
Okay, but they do get a kill off on.
Okay, so yeah, Chris gets a kill onto Xayah, and what that means is he's pretty much got the lane in the bag now. I don't think he's going to be giving this advantage up anytime soon,
for sure.
Unless Akali tries to go for a roam. But if she does do that, there's the opportunity cost of trying to prevent Kassadin from getting more minions. Alice is forced to defend the tower by his own. Okay, Kassadin tries to ult. Okay, Akali goes to the all-in. I think this is a kill.
Oh,
great knockup!
Unfortunate. Yeah,
Kills the Akali.
Excellent.
Akali went for the all-in, but Akali didn't use her flash because she didn't see the Zac coming.
Yeah.
This is why Zac is so annoying.
Yeah, Zac is level 6 now.
You just never expect him to come. The Dennis lasting the minions with Q. He goes for the hook, misses.
If he misses the hook, like he can't.
Yeah, it just means that Bane has this giant window where she can just try to harass Darius with autos and proccing her W.
Yep, Darius forced to back here just because he's very low, and if he continues to get poked under turret, it'll be terrible for him in terms of getting farm. I think Shijang has this lane in the back, thankfully, so it's not all terrible. Even though bot lane is getting ahead, and there was a critical.
I wouldn't judge it too quick to say that Shijang has this in the bag, because even though you can see there's a clear CS difference of about 20. Usually, the rule of thumb is that if you're a melee champion and you're laning against something ranged like Vayne or maybe Jace or Quinn, having a CS being behind CS is okay, as long as you're not dying too much, and as long as you're soaking up EXP, it's actually not too bad. I think Darius still has a very good chance to bounce back in the lane here.
If Darius can get his first item in, I think
if Darius gets Triforce in, he can definitely look for fights. But then again, Vayne is going to be rushing a Blade of the Ruin King, and Blade of the Ruin King is a very good item on Vayne because it slows the opponent a lot when you use it. So Darius is going to have an even harder time trying to catch up. But another gank.
Oh, we see another gank coming in from the Zac.
We see Zac did miss the Q. I don't think anything is going to happen. But Kassadin does manage to get some harassed with the QE, and he's going to have an easier time farming minions.
If Zac can stay sticky to the Akali, I think that would have been definitely possible, but there were no minions there just to...
Zac is going for the return gank here, but you can see that... Okay, he goes in.
Cute.
And Akali is forced to... Akali has flash. Akali's gonna flash away. Oh, no, he doesn't flash away. He just ults. Okay.
Oh,
so good judgment. Good judgment by Junkyo. Saving his flash because he knows he has the second ult. And let's see if Kassadin's going. Okay. Oh, that was a misplay. That was an unfortunate misplay by Junkyo right there. She jumped into the Kassadin, but didn't respect the fact that he probably had ult stacks.
Oh, but we do see the knowledge back.
Zac is almost dead, but instead, I think they got mixed up in targeting. And now the bot lane is here. Nalus is forced to flash away, but I think he's dead. He is. And now Kassadin is in just ginormous lead. He is down in CS by 12, but he has 3 kills to go with it. Ezreal has another kill now. These are supposed to be scaling champs, by the way. So like I said before, blue team is not supposed to be winning lane early. They're supposed to be looking for a scaling composition. While they give up early objectives and a little bit of farm, if they can just effectively learn how to go to the side lanes and farm up, they will end up taking the game when the game drags on to 30 or 40 minutes. We see a Xayah ult.
It's very bad. The clock is ticking a lot for the red team. They have to look for some.
Yeah, they have to act on something fast. You can see the dragon is still not taken yet.
Their window is slowly closing.
Yeah, their window is slowly closing up on them. Obviously, no objectives have been taken yet, and if I were in the blue team right now, I would be extremely happy.
Yeah,
See, Cassidy can now just have a field day because he now has his first item ready. Akali needs Hextech Revolver in order, not Hextech Revolver, sorry. Akali needs Hextech Gunblade in order to start effectively pushing these trades and all-ins. She goes in. Okay, Akali's coming to an all-in, but she missed her Q. She hits it now.
Yeah, I don't think it's
I don't think it's. I just don't think it's going to work. You just see that Cassidy is just so tanky. Cassidy just kills her again. Those early ganks by Zac really helped out the Cassidy there.
Yeah, once Cassidy hits 11, maybe like it's just gonna be.
Once Cassidy hits 11, he's going to start just looking for easy roams because obviously his ult cooldown is going to be lower. His ult is going to do a lot more damage, and we've all heard of this. Cassidy's sweet level 16. Where his ultimate cooldown just becomes 1 second, and he has a flash every second that does trillions of damage. You obviously never want to play against a Cassidy that may be as fed as this one.
Good on blue team for looking for a dragon opportunity there.
Blue team also gets the dragon. I think already from this game, unless there is a string of misplays by the blue team, I think this game is already looking pretty grim for the red team.
Yeah, it's very scary when you're facing off against the blue team. Even in our scrims, I feel like it's a double-pronged threat with the Caston in the mid lane as well as Chetapisa, who's obviously the best player in the esports competition today. But
I think that personally, so far, the best player has definitely been the Zac. Zac has been so impactful in the mid lane,
getting great games off.
Yeah, I think it was the right choice, definitely focusing on the mid lane because top lane is just probably going to look to play safely. And mid lane is easily the most volatile matchup out of all of these.
Especially since the Caston early game. It's good.
Yeah, especially since Caston's early game is not great.
Okay.
Darius Ghost. I think Darius is gonna win this. Oh, he gets the flash Q. That should be a kill. That should be a kill.
That should be an easy kill, actually. Yeah, that was a great play by Darius.
Great play. He managed to pull Vayne over even after Vayne condemned.
That was a huge range. Yeah.
With Darius's E. After he hooks someone, he ends up slowing them for about 1 second by, I believe, about 60%. Okay, Cassidy is probably dead, but unfortunately the shutdown goes to the Trundle, and obviously you don't want to see that coming.
Yeah,
you obviously want the shutdown to go to the Akali, who needs to desperately get back in the game.
We have to see the Akali assassinate Ezreal somehow in teamfights, but currently
I just don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. Like Alistar is just going to be. I think in this comp, Alistar is going to be taking the reactive role. You have the proactive support like Leona or like Thresh, who are mostly who are support champions that love to play off of engage. So we can see the red team went with that strategy. They have the Nautilus. The Nautilus isn't going to be looking for peeling as much as he is going to be looking for engages. But I think given the fact that their carries are all pretty fed and that they have a Zac already for the engage, I think instead Funkasu is going to look to peel for his carries. We can see Zac jump over. Nothing's going to happen, but Akali is going to be zoned off of some farm.
I think Alistar is one of those versatile supports that are able to either play like an engage role as well as a peel role, as you said. But when you're playing for Chetapisa, who obviously can dish out the damage you need in a team fight, I feel like it's just fine for Alistar to stay right behind with him.
We can also see Alistar about the Knight's Vow, which is a great first item if, again, you have a fed AD carry and you can also eventually tank enough to soak some of the damage that your AD
all
carry will
Alistar needs to do right now is just stick right next to the AD carry and enable the Ezreal to deal as much damage
so
as possible.
We'll probably see Alistar build the Zeke's Convergence into Gargoyle Stoneplate for the extra tankiness. That combined with Alistar's Aftershock and his ult is going to make him unkillable.
Yeah, you can see
the only thing that could maybe kill is if Vayne manages to focus the Alistar, but if Vayne is focusing the Alistar, it's a very bad use of her very heavy and shreddy PS later on in the game.
What do you think about the chances for red teams to come back in any way possible?
I think they honestly the only way this is gonna work is if they throw. You can see that Vayne gets hooked. She has no flash because she used it. Vayne's looking for the kite. She kills the Darius in the 1v2. I think she's going to also turn on the Zac as well. Zac has no choice but to go back in. Okay. But Zac's passive is down, but this is going to be an easy 1v2.
Yep.
That was an amazing play by Shijang on the Bane. But Alistar comes, not Alistar, Zac comes back. Bane doesn't see him right there because there's a control ward.
It is
He
a
might
bit
look,
greedy
he
of
might look for the
Bane.
goal coming back in. He
Whoa.
gets it. Auto. He gets condemned. Bane has to
Nautilus
run.
up, Nautilus
But
over.
But Nautilus is here. Nautilus is probably
Nautilus
gonna look
is
for the
gonna
hook. He just
okay, he
ults,
does
and
get
then
the
he's
ult
just gonna
off.
go for the hook.
Go for the
He's gonna
hook,
go for the
and
hook,
he
and then
should be dead.
auto, and then Zac is
Oh,
gonna be
but the
dead.
teleport
We
comes
see a
in.
TP from Kassadin. And
Nautilus has to
I
engage
think
that.
Nautilus might actually be dead.
Yeah, Nautilus
Zac goes
is
back
dead.
in.
It seems that
Okay,
they do get the kill.
Nautilus does flash for the kill. Nautilus unfortunately misses the dredge line on the wall, and that means that's another kill for the Kassadin that's supposed to be scaling up.
Decent play by the Vayne. I mean, I thought she was completely dead there, but she's able to come out alive at the end.
I think Vayne made very good use of her stealth because she was able to juke the other way, and Darius and Zac both thought she was going to run towards the river, but instead she went up to her tower instead.
Dodges
You can
the
see
Zac
a lane swap. I think Kassadin's just going to get the
not
tower
really
here.
respecting the damage that Akali can deal. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what that was. Kassadin should have just backed off there.
I think Kassadin does what a lot of people do. They're getting hit by the enemy, and they just want that. They just reach for the tower so hard.
Well,
Zaya messes up her pull. She's gonna be dead. Good punish. Yeah, Zaya already had to burn one of her main peel abilities, which is her ultimate, and then the only other chance she had was if she could manage to pull the feathers and hit the Darius, but it missed, and unfortunately that leads to another kill for the top lane.
I mean, we have to talk about the fact that Red Team is obviously the underdog in this matchup, but I mean, I think there's a lot of light shining in the end of the tunnel, but I mean, at the same time, it's obviously going the way of the blue side, with the dragon coming in and the Rift Herald being dropped in the bot lane. There's really no
They
chance
get a
there.
second dragon, and we'll see what dragon soul it is.
Yep.
Infernal, okay.
Yeah, once the Infernals are taken by the blue team...
Infernal is probably the best choice for blue team.
Right.
Just because they have the Ezreal, who can easily just stay out of danger and just spam his Q to poke down the enemy team before they fight. As you can see, Ezreal has his Mermana finished. He has his Triforce completed because he wants damage, and we see a flash engage on Darius, on Bane.
Wow, that was a great engage.
That Q does so much damage because of Conquer. You know what, maybe
Now he has
Phase Rush
Hammer
wasn't the
stacks
best idea.
He has the hammer stocks off, and now it's just...
Now Darius's ult has come back. Maybe
Yeah.
he might look for a 1v2, but I think the red
It's
team is
better
going
if
to
he stays
respect his
safe.
power. You see Akali has the Hextech Gunblade, so she's going to be relevant for a while, but once Kassadin gets Seraph's Embrace and Rod of Ages, he's just going to be a whole new breed. He's going to actually become a champion who can do things on his own.
Once Kassadin hits this point where it's like he's completely self-sustainable, at that point there's just nothing anyone can do. Because they have to
So,
stop him somehow.
yeah. So Flying Fly learning from his mistake, backing out,
Yeah,
not green
he's
for the
staying safe
tower. That goes in. It's Nautilus. Nautilus doesn't have flash.
Oh, you get the
he had to
great
try to kill
Q
with that.
right before...
Another kill for the Kassadin.
Yep.
At this point, I'm expecting Kassadin's Archangel staff to have about 300, 350 extra mana. So he's probably going to get it at about 26 minutes. And after those 5 minutes, he's just going to become extremely strong. Very challenging for the red team to try to stop him. I think the only way they can do this is if they manage to immobilize the Kassadin with the Trunda Pillar and the Vayne stun,
not happening
and
right
then
now at all.
and then all Vayne has to do is just auto attack him to death. But obviously this is a team game, so Kassadin's gonna have teammates that are gonna try to prevent this from happening. Kassadin goes in for a trade. He has to ult away, but I think he's going to be out.
Oh wow! Great
Akali
play by
manages
Nico.
to catch.
Yeah.
Akali manages to catch him. I think Kassadin was being too ambitious, trying to trade with his ult, because obviously that's his only escape. And he's not at the point yet where he's able to use his ult both as a way of forcing an all-in and to escape at the same time. At this point, he has to choose. He has to choose whether he wants to save his ult to escape, or if he wants to use it to force all-ins. He's not at the point yet where he doesn't have to think about that. So Ezreal has finished his Death Stance, his third item in 22 minutes. Ezreal still has no deaths, so red team still doesn't have a shutdown. Yeah.
I mean, Ezreal's just staying mid, trying to farm as much as he can. I think that's a good idea at this point.
You see, Ezreal is just able to spam his Q, and
very oppressive for the
he does have to play cautiously, just in case the Kali does go for Nolan, but he doesn't have ult yet. Red team is devoting a lot of their resources to the mid lane. Right here, I guess they're trying to look for a fight, but I think it'd just be better if Kassadin went to a side lane, like top instead, and just went for farm. You see that ult attacking 3 people, Trundle's backing, but obviously the blue team can see him because of the minions. And that'll buy them a little bit more time. They could even look for a Baron, maybe?
Yeah,
because they saw that the Trundle is trying to reset and they poked him down, they forced him out. We can see that the Vayne is also resetting.
Okay,
I think they could also I think they could just sneak this. You can see red team doesn't have vision. Alistar popping his sweepers, sees that red side has no wards, so they're just going to be sneakily doing the Baron, and
I have no idea this is happening.
Yep, the red team just don't have a clue. There's obviously no chance that they can steal this because they don't have like an Ezreal ult or anything else that's global. It's gonna go to Baron Nashor, taken for the blue team. That's going to extend their lead. You can see the goal difference is at 9k right now, and
24 minutes into the game.
At 24 minutes in, this is I think if we had to place odds, I think it's going to be like a 99% chance of blue team winning.
Kills now. I mean, I don't see it happening.
You see, Vayne has her Gwynsu's Rage Blade, her second core item, but I think the Gwynsu's is just not enough. Vayne is too squishy of a champion. She is going to have too hard of a time trying to do significant damage, especially when you have a Kassadin who's level 15. He's 1 level away from hitting that sacred power spike. The Kassadin still trying to stack his Seraphs.
Okay, blue team does get the Dragon here. I think they'll just.
Oh, Vayne flashes in and gets punished for it. Vayne just goes for a super desperate play. I think this game is already over.
Yep.
Akali and Vayne, they both just die for the backline, but Ezreal just cannot be touched. The Alistar just does way too much, and as you can see, even Zac took a peeling position.
That engage is horrible. They have nobody. They don't have Xayah there.
Okay. It's understandable because at this point, it's an act of desperation.
Yeah. Very desperate, but I feel like they should have brought the Xayah there at least. To make it a fight.
I think really, you have to make desperate plays and just hope that it works out, especially when you're this behind. And you can see the blue team took the inhibitor. They're just going to be looking to end the game.
Yep. Dang, look for the
red team is up. They're trying to defend this, but Kassadin can just go in and out of fights. And you can see this is a complete massacre. Because you see Darius just pulled.
Wow.
And
okay, Kassadin hit. He even hit 16. He doesn't need to. There's too much damage already.
And this game looks like a wrap. Yeah, GG.
That was at the end. Moves on to the finals.
That was a pretty fast game. That was 26 minutes. Usually at this point we would be seeing a change in the tides. See the damage graph. Kassadin dumped the most damage, and Ezreal came at a close second. But personally, I think the MVP of this game should go to the Zac, because Zac was just
damage graph.
Zac was just able to, he pretty much baked a cake for Kassadin, just gave it to him, right? He just set up for Kassadin in so many crucial ganks in the early game that allowed him to snowball. And that's why I think personally Zac should be the MVP. What about you?
Obviously the stars of the team are probably the Kassadin as well as the Ezreal, but the Zac was very critical in getting to them to that point. So I feel like Zac does deserve the MVP award for this game.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think Vayne did have a slight edge over Darius, but I think it wasn't big enough of a lead.
That was very transient in the early
game. Even though Vayne took teleport, she was unable to make use of any teleport ganks and the teleport roams, and I think instead she should have just gone with exhaust instead, because she only used her teleport to get back to lane.
Okay, I guess we'll be moving on to an MVP interview very soon with the Zac. Michael Cho here.
Yo, what's up, Michael?
Hello.
How does it feel to be?
Hello.
How does it feel to be the MVP of the series?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. I really didn't expect to get it.
Oh, you didn't expect to
Um,
get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
I don't
first ask what you thought about the flow of the game, or what do you think were some mistakes that you guys made as a team, and what do you think you guys can do better?
I think we were all kind of surprised when Dennis got solo killed in the top lane, and there was obviously that one fight where we tried to 2v1 Vayne, and then it didn't work out so well, and then I ended up dying to the Nautilus. Those were, I think, hiccups that we didn't need to have, but otherwise, I think the flow of the game was pretty good. It felt pretty good.
How solid do you think your communication and coordination with your teammates were? I think, yeah. How good do you think your coordination was?
I actually think our coordination's pretty good. I don't know. We've played quite a bit over the last 2 days, so I think the communication's going pretty well. We're calling out everything that we need to.
That you're a support main, right? And in this competition, you've been pulling out the Zac jungle a lot, managing to influence team fights. What do you think you'll do if Zac gets banned in future matches?
I might kill myself, but otherwise, I think our team is very flexible with what we can play, and I have a couple of other champions besides Zac as well, so I might pull those out as well.
So I guess the plan is that you'll play jungle throughout the series in the finals?
Perhaps. We're probably looking to go for that.
Okay.
Not too sure.
So, what are you going to do to prepare yourself for the grand finals?
I don't know. I mean, mostly we're just going to be looking at what champions they play, and how the last match went to look at what they're good at. Yeah, we're hoping to get paid today.
All right. Thanks for coming in for the interview. You guys played great, and good luck in the finals.
To see you do well in the finals.
Thank you.
Oh, best of 3 finals. That'll be tough.
Best of 3.
Let's see who won the other match. Actually, I'm curious. That was the Night League versus the Go Next match.
Night League versus Go Next, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the esports tournament hosted by the HSSC as well as Media Club. In the previous match, we saw Songnam Surfers completely dominate the junior team, and they were able to come out on top. And in the finals, they'll be facing off against Go Next, who are the freshman team, who just were able to completely defeat Night League as well in the other side of the bracket.
If we had to pick the favorites for the game, I think if I had to predict, I think Songnam Surfers is going to win the match I think they're going to win the first two games.
Pretty handily, I would say, considering as long as they can funnel well for Chatukrise like they just did in the previous two matches. I think that's just the theme of the team. Just keep Chatukrise as well as sometimes flying flight safe in the back lane. Let them get some good engages off. I think they'll just come out on top pretty easily.
Yeah. For the Sunland Surfers specifically, they looked like they were a much more coordinated team when you saw them in the previous game, because when we saw SK Telecom, whatever, SKT1, they looked like they were playing like a complete different game with one another. Everyone was just staying in their respective lanes, not really taking any risks, and you saw how the Zac decided to take advantage of that. Camp the Akali, get kills, get a lead, and take dragons and just completely snowball the game out of control.
I guess
Okay,
we're loading into Champ Select right now.
We're trying to configure a way to do drafting because we thought that it wasn't convenient enough. So
Yeah, drafting last game was very tricky considering what they picked in the game.
yeah, they were picking random stuff like
yeah,
Window and
matched
Singed.
up.
Yeah.
Also, I am the new commentator. I go by R. Kelly.
What?
What? Now, introduce yourself.
My name's R. Kelly.
Oh my.
One quiz. Anyway,
We're waiting for the game to begin.
yeah.
So we're moving on to the champ select. I think right now they're figuring out the logistics as to how they can make the champ select happen, but most likely it'll be through the chat feature on Discord, so that it's better. It's clear for the rest of us who are watching the match to know what's actually being picked. And we'll see the Songnam Surfers draft against Go Next. I think we'll see a strong ADC pick coming up for Songnam Surfers once again, such as the Ezreal pick as we saw last game, or potentially the Caitlyn if they don't ban that.
Yeah.
But we're not quite sure yet what will be picked.
And they're most likely going to pick an Enchanter support to accommodate that strong AD carry, such as a Lulu or a Yumi, just to power up Chris's AD carry.
Yeah, that's really the
much
theme
more.
of this team: getting the Choto Chris ahead, giving him the bonuses he needs with like an
Mhm.
Enchanter support, Soraka maybe, Lulu. Those are all pretty strong picks for the Songnam Surfers.
The other team should mainly try to focus on completely destroying the team early games, and then just making sure that Chris cannot farm or scale at all. But that's basically just easier said than done. So we'll have to see what happens.
I guess there's still a bit of a holdup in the drafting process.
Mhm.
In terms of the Go Next freshman team, I'm excited to see Dafro5. I have not seen him play yet, but I heard that he's a great jungler. He's obviously the highest ranked on the team at Plat 3. And I'm excited to see like what kind of jungle pick he decides to go with that can try and influence the entire map. I think what they need to try and do is try to slow down the growth of Chotokris as much as possible with a strong ganking jungler. But we'll have to see what they end up picking.
Hey, is that Platinum 3 for solo queue or team 5 tactics? That's important.
Oh, that is very true, actually. Some of these ranks are not accurate, but I do think he has Platinum 3 in regular league because I checked his profile on op.gg.
Oh.
Okay, so the ban phase has begun. The freshman team decided to ban Caitlyn, which totally makes sense, as that is obviously Chotokris's best pick. It's possible. And meanwhile, the senior team decides to ban Mastery, another solid pick, which can try to be the hyper carry of their team once they get kills off. And they go with Echo bans.
The Echo bans to be targeted the mid laner, but the mid laner, if you look at his match history and such, he's known to play a lot of Annie, so we might see an Annie ban come out later.
Yeah, I would love to see the Annie ban instead of the Echo ban. I think Echo is at least manageable in some ways, but once he picks up the Annie and you're some kind of damage dealer, he can get a flash R engage off, and it's just over for whoever's on the enemy team.
Well, now the Sundown servers have banned out the Galio coming from Galio. So what do you think about this? What do you think about this Galio ban?
I think Galio is a great pick for the freshman team, possibly. Just because he's able to CC whoever it is, like the AD carry or other potential threats in the team.
Yeah.
And along with that, he has great ult engages, so he can roam very easily as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good ban coming out from the senior team overall. And they decide to go with the Lulu ban for the end, the freshman team. Makes sense completely because that's not only a ban for the support himself, but it's also technically a ban for the AD carry as well, just because it's such a good support pick to try and give bonuses to the AD carry.
Yeah, Lulu right now is currently one of the best Enchanter supporters, one of the best. We're actually powering up an AD carry and letting Chris just go completely wild.
And final ban is Zach from the senior team. Makes sense because I mean Zach is a great pick. I mean they played it last game, but I guess they don't decide to play it this time around.
Okay. Yeah,
And
the most of their bans seems the jungler. Yeah.
We have the Ezreal pick coming out from the freshman team. It makes sense because Ezreal is one of the best picks for the senior team as well. If they can get Ezreal early on, then they'll have no chance to pick it up later.
Ezreal is a rather safe blind pick as well, but we might see another pick such as a Kaisa or Jin to work on that.
Okay, and the senior team ends up picking up the Kane. Kane's a great pick in looking for assassinations on key targets. And what's it? Kane is played mostly by Ungsu, so I don't think that Michael will be playing jungle this game. Instead, they'll be looking to play Dennis in the jungle.
Yeah.
Because Kane is one of his most played champions as well.
I think it's pretty interesting that we just get to see a Kane pick this early on because the speed that he gets his transformations is completely dependent on the characters that the enemy team picks. And right now, when you pick a character, you have like the plan. You either wanted to go in for like the blue assassin form in order to burst someone down, or act as a front letter with Rost.
Yeah, there were a lot of times, a lot of few patches where the red cane was obviously stronger than the blue cane, but I think both picks are decent right now in the current state. So I hope we'll see some diversity in that choice. And the senior team ends up picking Aphelios right after they pick Kane. Aphelios, great pick, because I mean Chotokrisa can play it well, and as long as it can stay safe, which is mostly just the theme of the team, I think they'll be able to transition it into a late game where Aphelios just puts down turrets and picks up the right weapon and just infernos everyone on the enemy team.
Now, it is true that Chris is able to play to pilot Aphelios to a decent degree, but we have to remember that he's fallen out of the meta slightly. He hasn't been performing too well. He's very weak against mages in the bottom lane and high range. And currently,
Other CCs on together, I think they can look for great team fights in late game. And
And
for
it looks
their
like
pick, they go for Ornn.
Ornn. Now,
Ornn's a good pick for Tony Punkasa just because he plays it a lot.
No, with the Ornn Aphelios, the senior team has a very decent late game. Ornn is able to scale with his ornament items, and he's able to spread the wealth, and we could definitely see we'll definitely see the Aphelios getting the Infinity Edge upgrade. Now if you look at the team comp, we'll go about team compositions later though. So for bans right now we have Vladimir being banned, and now Kassadin being banned by the freshman team.
Kassadin makes sense. Last game, I mean, he was just oppressive. Flying Flight on the Kassadin pick. He would just scale infinitely, great engages off in team fights, and from there just turn the tides of the game.
Yes.
So I think Kassadin's a great ban for the freshman team. And the senior team rounds out their bans with Vladimir and Volibear.
Now the Volibear pick, it seems to be another jungle focused ban, and if you have a Malphite, Volibear, and Leona combo, it is a very strong trio for additional engage, and Ezreal is able to stay at the back, just poking away. So again, another target ban coming out for jungler.
Yeah, for sure. They can stack their abilities down onto like a specific location with his Volibear E, and along with the Leona ultimate, as well as the rest of her spells, and the Malphite ultimate, obviously, which can knock out multiple people. Once they get that entire combo down, it'll be very difficult for the enemy team to try to escape that situation. And the fifth ban is Annie. Just a standard ban, honestly, for Flying Flight, who has not picked his champion yet.
Now we'll be moving on to the last two picks for the teams.
Okay, they go with Tarek, which is a comfort pick for my show. I'm not necessarily sure if it's a good pick for the team comp overall, but I mean, it's just a good pick for himself because he's very comfortable on it. He's been playing a lot of solo queue and duo queue on that champion, and he's gold 2 or gold 3, which is pretty decent, honestly.
Now with Tarek pick, with this ultimate, it could be very if the ultimate is used pretty smartly, then the entirety of the freshman team's engage can just be completely nullified.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he gets the timing right.
Yeah.
If Tarek can get an ult off right before the engage even begins for the enemy team, I think they can just negate the entire damage combo that they have, and they'll just not be able to dish out anything.
So okay, the freshman team decided to pick up Grace for the jungle character. Pretty good pick. Very strong early on. Has good carry potential. Is able to bully the enemy jungler. And since we're seeing a Kayn versus Graves matchup here, we could easily see Graves going into the Kayn's jungle, bullying him, trying to bully him out and such. And now we see an
That's very exciting. Last game I didn't like the jungle picks too much just because they were two tanks. They were like Trundle and Zac. But with this matchup, when we have Graves versus Kayn, I think we'll see a lot more counter jungling going on, a lot more engages onto the enemy jungler, lots of collapsing, and I think that's what I'm really excited to see this game. And they end out their pick phase with Aatrox in the top lane.
Now, I'll be completely critical about this. I think the Aatrox pick here is absolutely awful. You're basically laning against an Ornn who's going to be stacking a lot of armor, and if you look at the freshman team, they don't exactly have an abundance of ability power unless the Malphite sets go full ability power. But if that's the case, Ornn only needs to build his Abyssal Mask and just go straight armor for the rest. And Aatrox struggles heavily against armor stacking, and I don't see this pick working out very well.
To round out their picks, the senior team decided to pick Ahri, which is good in terms of providing more ability power for the rest of the team. Now we see them changing their pick order just so that the lanes are reflected, and then from there we'll be going in game.
Now, so Ahri. Now Ahri is a very safe pick in general currently, but she's really passive. Her damage output isn't the best, but if she decides to go for the Glacial Augment build with the GOP and the Twin Shadows, we could definitely see them making good picks.
I think the Ahri will go for like a more utility-oriented build, just because the whole goal is to try and charm whoever's engaging onto Chris, because they have to defend him as much as possible in team fights. He has Aphelios, which is just good if you can stay alive in team fights. That's the most tricky part of the whole thing.
Now look at the draft currently. I'm predicting a win for the senior team. Mainly because the draft for the freshman team, it just plays completely into what Aphelios wants. Aphelios wants a lot of melee characters that dive into him, so he could just go in range, use his chakram, use his infernum gun, and just completely mow everyone down. If you have characters such as Malphite, Leona, and Aatrox who all dive in and want to go into melee range. The only source of poke is Ezreal, and that's not necessarily enough. So Aphelios' weakness are not at all exploited by this draft.
For sure. I mean, if Aphelios can get lots of auto attacks before the team fight even begins onto, say, Leona or their Malphite, just chucking them down a little bit before the fight can even begin, I think the fights are highly in the favor of Red Team.
Also, looking straight at the draft again, it looks like it's going to be a Malphite in the top lane going against Ornn, and we're going to have an Aatrox in the mid lane play against the Ahri. Now, Aatrox mid is a pick that is not seen too much nowadays in the mid lane, and honestly, it doesn't seem like the best pick. The team composition for the freshman team, it just looks like a complete disaster looking against the team.
Like, I'm not sure how they're going to deal damage.
Yeah.
Just looking at it purely. I mean, their Ezreal provides lots of poke in team fights, but I think I would have preferred to see an AD carry with a lot more carry potential, such as Kai'Sa or Aphelios as the enemy team picked. I think with the Ezreal pick, it's a little bit too safe, considering it's a Malphite too. Like, if Malphite and Leona go in, I feel like there should be like an ADC that can follow up with the damage, but it's just not there right now in their team.
Now, unfortunately, right now for the AD carries that are very good right now, those hard carry characters aren't exactly in the meta. The popular characters you see nowadays are Ashe, Jhin, Senna. These characters who provide lots of utility. So by having this Ezreal being the focus for the freshman team comp, it puts a lot of pressure on him to actually consistently deal damage. And Ezreal's not exactly known to be a character who just completely dishes through tanks like Vayne. So we could definitely see the freshman team just completely struggling to break past the front line of the senior team.
Yeah, when Songnam servers picked up the Ezreal last game, it made a lot of sense because they could also pick the Kassadin as well as the Darius, who in and out of selves, they provide lots of damage.
Yeah.
But Ezreal on its own just doesn't do enough, I feel like, within this team comp. This team comp's not very thematic in that, I mean, they have the engage there, but there's not enough follow-up, I feel as though, considering their Aatrox is not going to be able to do much outside of his third Q. And the Graves obviously does lots of damage, but it's mostly in 1v1 duels and like short skirmishes. So I think team fights are not going to be the way to go for this freshman team.
I mentioned earlier about how with the Kane you have to look at what the enemy picks first and then pick it because it depends on if you want to go for a red form Kane, you have to look at if they have a lot of melee characters because you need to gain those ores quickly. And looking at it, it looks like the Kane is perfectly set up to go into a Ross form this game right now with Malphite, Leona, and Aatrox providing the red ores for him.
Yeah, it's very easy for him to transform this game. I feel as though because lots of gank opportunities in top lane with the CC from Ornn, mid lane as well from the CC from Ahri, and obviously bot lane has the Taric engage as well as the Aphelios to follow up. I think Kane will have a field day this match.
Now, if the freshman team has any chance of winning, they need to exploit the Kane's early game and play an extremely proactive and aggressive style with the Graves invading in and Aatrox heavily pushing into the Ahri and try to make something happen. But then as at this moment, there's just too much pressure on the freshman team to get stuff done.
Mm-hmm. The only way I see them winning is if Graves can literally just live inside the enemy jungle, live inside their heads, try and provide as much pressure as possible. But that's definitely easier said than done. And I do think that Davro is a good player. I haven't seen him play personally, but I've heard many great things about his gameplay, so I'm excited to see how he can do against the King, which is obviously a favorite matchup for the Graves. He has many dashes, many spells to dish out damage, so I mean, the King will struggle a lot in 1v1 duels, I feel as though.
Alright, so the game will be starting about now.
Now the game has begun. Songnam Surfers, who are the senior team, versus Go Next Freshmen in the finals of the Esports Championship hosted by the HSSC and media clubs. Both teams are ready to go, and we'll see them try and dish this out. Hopefully we can see good gameplay coming up from both teams.
Now look at the runes here. It's just as we predicted. Kane going for the conquer, implying that he's going to go for the Ross form. Ahri going for the more utility focused build with the glacial element, having the Aphelios be the main carry of this game.
Yeah, I always hate it when Chotokrisa picks up the cleanse on his AD carry, just because, you know, even if he gets engaged on, he can easily cleanse out of fights.
Yes.
Keeps him safe all the time. You know, it's very difficult to keep him pinned down in a team fight, although that's what they're supposed to do from the Go Next freshman team.
Currently, it looks like nothing will exactly happen in the level 1 as of right now. Very, very passive. There's a ward
coming out from Graves into the enemy Kane.
Yes.
Checking out their red buff. I do believe that the Kane will probably start Raptors because of his AoE.
Now it looks like Graves will be starting at his red buff and getting a leash, having a much faster clear time.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Pains coming out from the bottom lane. We might see Aphelios and Taric try something cheeky and get a little bit of damage, but probably won't result in a kill due to Aphelios having an absolutely awful level 1.
Yep. If you think they'll go for a 2v2, do you think they'll end up winning out?
If they get the surprise factor, then yes, but they won't win the extended trade.
I would say this is quite unlikely. They're already pinging it as if they already know what's going to happen. Okay, and they decide not to go for the cheese. We can already see that the lane is in favor of Ahri just because of the range advantage, and Ahri can just dish out autos and her spells to keep the Aatrox distance away from the minion wave.
No, that is just absolutely baffling to me at the moment. Why would you pick Aatrox in the middle lane if you're just going to completely concede your lane priority to an Ahri early on? The Aatrox just simply isn't doing it enough, and he's already making a big mistake.
I mean, according to his profile, Jeffrey is currently in Silver 2 with a 41% win rate on Aatrox in Silver 2. So I'm assuming it's one of his comfort picks, but I mean, he doesn't seem to show much results with it. Once again, Jotokrisa putting down the pressure in bot lane. It's always difficult to lane against him because you always know he's going to dish out the autos to keep you low and away from the minion wave.
Now, at the moment, I feel like, wait. No, we do see a gank coming out here. The Kane.
Yep,
It won't result in a kill. It won't result in a kill.
No kills. It's good considering that Malphite's running out of mana slowly.
Yeah. And considering that it's decent early movement coming out from the Kane here,
the Graves
getting
knows that this is happening, so they go for the engage. Kane does get a little bit greedy and trying to go for the blue buff early on, as we might expect, considering in the Graves Kane matchup.
and the Kane goes for an early smite here.
Yeah, but Kane just has no chance of winning out here. Oh, Kane might actually end up dying.
And that's first blood coming into the Aatrox.
Yeah, the minion wave was pushed completely into the mid lane. Ari had no chance to follow up there, and that's an easy kill on the Aatrox.
That was just an absolutely greedy play coming in from the Kane. He's not able to duel the Graves early on, and he did not have lane priority too.
Engage coming in the bot lane.
Engage in the bot lane.
Ezreal goes for the flash, Aphelios flashes. I don't think a kill will come out right now, but it's very close overall. I do think though that this Songnam Surfer's bot lane is winning out at the end. This bot duo, Maestro on Taric, along with Aphelios on Kutakrisu, is just a great duo. I'm looking for fights. I think that fight was super favored for the bot lane.
No. If you see here, the bot lane for the freshman team they had to burn both summoners while the Taric still has and the Aphelios still has his cleanse up. So generally, I consider this a win for the.
Yep. Just in terms of summoner spells burned, I mean, if King can look for more engages bot lane, I think this could be great overall. But we could see Graves putting on the pressure already in the jungle. Graves obviously has the winning matchup here against Kane, but we'll have to see if they decide to go for more substantial. Graves might be in a sticky situation here, but I do think he's going to get out easily.
Nothing is happening at the moment. Graves is able to get out. Oh! Is able to drag down.
And they get the kill onto the Ahri. Even though Ahri burned flash, she was not able to flash to safety, and she ended up dying.
That's a bit of a misplay by the Ahri. She left the Aatrox W to just completely lock her up and such, and she burned her slow later, and so she wasted her flash for nothing, basically.
I do think though that the freshman team are playing well into their win condition. As we mentioned before in Champ Select, what they need to do is find picks across the map early game before they're able to scale late game. But I think they're doing very well in terms of that.
Yes, they're definitely making sure that the Aatrox pick isn't going to complete waste at the current moment.
It's true. I mean, I don't think Aatrox is a good standalone pick, but I mean, if they're very comfortable with it, finding picks across the map, I think it could be good for them.
Yeah, Aatrox using his strong early game to create priority, letting Lane the Graves push it into the Kane's jungle. So it's all very good. Now currently looking here, we do see that the Ornn has picked up the catalyst. It looks like he's going to be rushing the Abyssal Mask instead of maybe pivoting into a Sunfire Cave. Because this looks like a bit of a mistake, as if Aatrox is to roam top or Graves is to roam gank top lane, Ornn will still be very vulnerable towards the damage. Towards the physical damage.
Okay, Kane is positioned to possibly look for a gank top lane. I'm not sure if anything will happen here. I mean, Malphite has not hit level 6 yet, so he can't re-engage. Meanwhile, the Ornn does have one more, and it goes through, but nothing comes out.
Call the Force God coming through, but it does hit the Malphite on the rebound, but the Malphite is able to flash out. Now currently Kane, he's on with his ganks, he's not actually looking to really get killed. He just needs all he needs are those orbs just to get him out of base game. That is his main focus right now.
As you can see, even though Ahri has 1 death racked up, and Aatrox is technically ahead in terms of 1 kill and 1 assist, he's still having a very tough time against the Ahri, just because Ahri can constantly dish out poke with her Q ability, and even her auto slowing the Aatrox constantly.
That is true, but Aatrox did not didn't shop yet. But now we see him come back with the Caulfield, refillable potion, and a Kindle Gem. All solid standard items for Aatrox. Now now let's take a look at top lane here.
He has to farm
Very
this
big
well.
lead. Very big lead for the.
Oh, that's just unlucky. Malphite goes for the E onto the minion wave, it's just causing the minions to die instantly.
The Malphite does seem to be struggling against the Ornn, considering that Ornn mainly does magical damage with his W. The Malphite looks like he's going to be pivoting into a chain vest first way.
Oppressive lane for the Malphite here, but the Ornn doesn't overstep in here. This might be a gank against the top lane. Yeah, that's an easy kill for the Graves.
Yeah, like we said before, the Ornn very squishy right now when it turns to physical damage. He has a lot of health and MR, but that's not gonna be doing much for him.
Since we see the Abyssal Mask coming in, I think we can see a lot more things coming in top lane. Graves can deal full damage to the Ornn, making him struggle a lot, considering he's not very tanky right now.
However, even if there are a lot of games coming up top, it doesn't answer the question of how to deal with the Ophilos. He's just able to completely farm up at the moment and just completely dominate the enemy bot lane. This now currently right now is not even a matter of champion difference. It's just a matter of physical difference.
Yep. I mean, we have the Conqueror for the Aphelios along with Tark's heal coming in constantly. So I mean, they have no chance of winning any sorts of trades. If Ezreal goes for like a Q trade, like short trade with them, he's they're killing right back up, and that allows for the jungle or take onto the dragon. We know this is happening, but I don't think they can do much to stop it.
Yes.
Graves is slowly coming down.
No. The Sauna surfers are able to take this completely fast. Aphelios has the best guns currently with the Severum and the Tracker to just completely melt down the objectives.
Top lane still looking oppressive for the Malphite. Not able to do much here.
Yeah. Now the Graves right now. Now the Graves has been able to accumulate a lot of farm currently.
Yeah.
Go around like a 28 CS difference between him and the Kayn.
Yep. Most of the gold lead this game comes from the fact that Graves has a 100% kill participation, along with the fact that he has all that CS advantage against the Kayn. I want to see if Graves can live a little bit more inside the enemy jungle though, considering he has a massive lead.
Yeah.
It obviously depends on the minion wave and the state of the laners, but I think it'll be very exciting to see if Graves can try and visit the red side jungle a lot more.
Yeah.
Another engage coming up from top lane. You know, it's just quick trades from the Ornn. They can't do anything.
Now the Malphite, he's just not having any fun in this lane right now. He can't deal damage back to the Ornn, and she just takes too much damage from the Ornn right now. It's
Oh, but the Graves does look for another engage onto the Ornn, but Ornn has flash right now, so don't think anything will come off of this.
yes, basically just got shot a couple times and
Yep.
now it's all good.
What
No,
top laner
we
needs to
do.
against... Oh yeah, go ahead.
Now we do see some movement coming out from the Ahri, maybe possibly going for a roam on the bottom lane, along with the Kayn. They might be looking for a power dive here. Now they do have the Turret Gold in there.
You wanna know
So
what's
it is
happening? She's staying in the bush, trying to stay patient.
The Aatrox is coming in. Malphite does have teleport up.
Dives are very easy in this team composition. You just get the kill onto Israel, it's a 4-man dive.
Aatrox comes in. There's a flank.
Oh, this is the delay follow-up with Aatrox, but Aatrox is getting CC.
But the Aatrox just gets completely blown up. They're being focused by everyone on the entire team. Graves out of nowhere with his ultimate, just completely sniping.
Great
Kayn.
kill from the Graves. That's one light at in terms of this game. I mean, that engage was highly in favor of the red side in the beginning, but the blue team decided to go for like a delayed engage. We did not expect a teleport coming in.
Now with the teleport was cancelled by the Ornn, as we didn't get to see Malphite come at all into the bot lane. That was a key interrupter. Malphite with his unstoppable force could have just changed everything.
Yep, and instead we see Malphite struggling once again, stuck in top lane.
Top Kingdom.
This is a very difficult matchup for Malphite, considering all he can do is Q against Ornn. But what top laners really have to do against the Ornn pick is try and go for extended traits. After Ornn dishes out all of his spells, he has a small window of time where he can't trade at all. But in terms of the Malphite, his autos don't do too much, and all he can really do is Q and E. So
with the Malphite,
difficult.
we've been seeing him just run into the pillar that Ornn creates, and that just allows Ornn to land his knockup and just use his W and get a very good trade off, proccing grasp and all that. Now looking at the items, it does seem like Graves is going to go for the Black Rift first here. So it does make sense, as his team is pretty much just completely all AD, and we might see him just pivot into Death Stance later to be rather tanky.
For sure. I hope to see Graves try and possibly contest the Rift Herald here. I think he has a decent window of opportunity here, considering the Ahri is looking for roam down to bot lane. And I guess Kayn is stuck clearing his Krugs, and he might end up backing. So I think this Rift Herald is pretty good timing for the blue team.
Now currently it looks like Ahri did.
Ahri once again going for roam bot lane, and this is a complete massacre. Once again, teleport cancelled.
No, it's the Aatrox teleports. This is a completely messy dive. What is happening?
That was a dirty dive. I don't know what they were thinking there. That could have gone disastrously, and I mean, Graves is up here to try and clean up, so that was an overstep by the red team for sure, I feel, though. I wonder if they can get out from this sticky situation, but it looks like they're able to, and they go for the execute onto the turret. Okay.
No, if you look at the bot lane, before we go back on the replay, Aatrox is completely
Aatrox completely blows up Aphelios indeed. I mean, if Aphelios and Leona can chain their CCs together and try and create some sandwich effect, just like we saw right before this, I think that's an easy kill onto the Aphelios, considering the turret doesn't even have his ultimate right now. Graves looked for something to the Ahri, but there's no chance, considering Ahri has flash, and her ult is also coming up very soon. So Ahri can stay safe against things all the time.
That was a good play coming out the freshman team. But with the Aatrox, you have that urgency. You need to make that Aatrox pick work, and so far they've been doing a decent job at utilizing him.
Yep. Freshman team punches back with the obtaining of the Purple Drake, and this will be a Mountain Soul game.
Now Mountain Soul is absolutely crucial here. If the Summon servers are able to get the Mountain Soul, this game is essentially over. Complete full AD team on the other side. Ornn is able to just get so tanky, along with possibly even Taric and even Kayn.
Yes, the only source of AP damage that the blue team has is Malphite, and Malphite's not doing too hot in this lane. They're gonna get traded out again, and it looks like a solo kill coming out from the Ornn against the Malphite. Excellently played. But Graves is back here, and he might end up cleaning this up actually, so...
If he does have his ult.
With the ultimate, comes in.
No, looking back at the bot lane also isn't having any fun at all. Almost a 50 CS differential coming out from the Ezreal and the Aphelios. This is a completely dominating performance.
I mean, as a tournament we saw Chotokris always providing the CS differentials against the enemy AD carry, which just makes it very difficult for an enemy ADC, because it provides so much pressure in lane for them to pick up any sort of farm.
Now, surprising enough, even though the Ahri did opt to go for the Glacial Augment, she decided to go for instead of going for the Glacial, instead of opting for a GLP to hose at him, and we just got to see Aatrox try to go in for a dive onto the Ahri with popping his ultimate, but Ahri was able to get out using her ultimate safely. And now we see another game.
Oh, that's a great pull on the Taric by Leona. I think this will be converted into a kill.
But the guns on him.
And the Conqueror, and Aphelios just ends up cleaning up. Well played by the enemy Aphelios.
Now for that situation, that was just unfortunate. Aphelios pretty much had the ideal weapons that he wanted. He had the perfect weapon. Sever him and check him. Sever him to just completely heal up, and check him to just for the highest DPS possible.
Yep. It was good on Chotokris for sure, but I also think the freshman team could have played a bit more respectfully, knowing that the Aphelios with such weapons would provide such a large amount of DPS.
The Tark ultimate was also pretty crucial for it too.
Yep.
Allowed him to gain the Spectrum flash safely, and then just completely destroy the NP. We see more trading coming out from the top lane, and Ornn is just completely unkillable due to Malphite.
All they can do are short trades, but Ornn has maximum mana in comparison to Malphite, who will obviously run out.
Now it's 18 minutes, but now it's 18 minutes. We already see the Runeon's Hurricane versus the Greaves, and the Incendiary coming out from the Aphelios.
Yep,
Very
two
big
core
up.
items that are quite crucial for the Aphelios. That'll mean if there aren't any team fights, I do feel like they hit the point where Aphelios can just turn fights around. And
But the Aatrox is coming on top, and
okay, that's a great kill onto the enemy Ornn.
Now currently it looks like no objectives are actually about to come out. And come out just yet. Dragon is coming out in a minute 30. And Kane is just forming, and
This is a very close game though in comparison to the previous prelim matches.
yeah.
We can see Aphelios doing Aphelios things here. And
Unfortunately,
that's a
Aatrox
solo
just-
kill onto the Aatrox. Wow.
Unfortunately, Aatrox just doesn't have the armor, or nor did he have the ultimate. Also, he just wasn't hitting full shots at all, and it just allows the Aphelios to just completely mow him down.
I believe the freshman team have better team coordination overall, but they also disrespect the enemy team entirely. Considering the engages are very well coordinated, but they just can't predict the damage of the enemy Aphelios.
We do see the Graves going in, but
Graves steps up, but I don't think this will.
but Aphelios does have to grab him. It allows him to just completely cut the Graves, and he gets out to
We have 3 top lane, and we have 2 top lane for the senior team, and I want to see if any engages happen. They notice this happening, and this is what I mentioned before, like, the freshman...
Wait, Malphite has flash?
Malphite needs to... Oh, Malphite doesn't end up looking for anything here. They end up pushing the winning wave back into their turret.
No,
They invested a lot of resources into it, but seems like they just get free push.
I don't know what both of these teams are doing. Dragon's coming up, but then they're all just kind of touring around the top lane. This Mountain Dragon
They
is so
created
cool.
too much.
The Kane and the Aphelios are not at the dragon right now, and this should be an easy dragon coming out for the freshman team.
Yeah, I feel as though getting Mountain Drake is quite crucial for both teams here. Usually, mid-game Drakes aren't as important because the soul is the only dragon that really matters. But in this case, it provides just crucial stats for both teams that allow them to provide resistances against the enemy team when they do team fights.
Wait, is Graves actually just soloing it?
Graves soloing this is not the best idea.
No.
I mean, they do get the they do get the Mountain Dragon too, though.
This is just awful.
They should have just assassinated the Graves before they went for it.
No, this is just awful macro coming out from the freshman team right now.
Yep.
Why was Graves left alone to just take it? He can't take it fast enough. At least have the Aatrox or the Ezreal go in there, speed it up so he doesn't die and have to burn both summoners just to take one dragon. This is absolutely ridiculous.
On top of that, when they saw Graves, they should have just completely turned on to killing Graves. Instead, they let them live for a few more seconds, getting in the window to have the crucial smite and taking the dragon.
Anyways, right now, it looks like Malphite just doesn't have an interest in building any magic users at the moment, and we might see that just completely haunted later in the season.
While it's true that Aphelios is the primary carry, Ahri is not opting to go the standard utility Ahri build. Instead, she decides to go for more damage, which means that they have to be worried about her damage along with the rest of their team.
That is true. Now, I do believe that the senior team can just completely turn around and just win it, because Aatrox currently is just nearing his expiration date. He's about to get his 2 items. He hit level 13, and now he doesn't have anywhere to go but down now.
Yep. If Aphelios can join the rest of the team in team fights, I feel as though there's no chance for the freshman team to find any picks whatsoever. Instead, Aphelios will just stand back, slam his ultimate onto everyone, and then the fight will just be over in an instant.
Now we do see some movement currently near mid lane. and if one of them were to get a kill or some sorts, it could be converted into a Baron. Currently, I just believe the freshman team aren't really playing to their strength at the moment. They have extremely good engage with Fiona, Malphite, and Atros. If they were to see Chris anywhere, they just engage heavily on him, and just kill him before the Terror ultimate can come out.
Now that provides an advantage for the senior team to clear out the vision that's in the jungle.
Yes.
As well as provide more vision across the enemy jungle as well. So good play by the senior team just to provide more vision for everyone. And this means they can threaten Baron for free. I mean, they have no idea this is happening. They aren't taking Baron necessarily, but this could be a good bait. Team fight coming in. And all the freshman team can do right now is clear waves and reset. Hope for the best, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like nothing is actually going to be really happening for the current moment until maybe a dragon comes up. Both teams aren't really doing anything, and this is completely fine for the senior. This is completely fine for the senior team. They could just take this opportunity to scale, get level and such, and it looks like they'll be starting the Baron at the current moment. Now we do see that the Phalos does have to track him up, and this will along with the sniper rifle, and this allows him to just completely melt it, or that just doesn't hit anyone. But Ezreal is still sitting at middle, just farming minions. Atros are coming at the left. True Shot Barrage coming in.
Uncharacteristic of the freshman team. All 5 of their members should have been here to begin with.
Oh, the force shot hits multiple people. We have the power call coming in.
This fight is over.
This fight is over. Atros coming up for left, but he can't do anything. He's completely exhausted. Atros is not able to do anything. Avilis is untouched, and the entire backline is completely done. Ezreal.
I was commending the coordination that the freshman team could provide throughout the game. However, they end up making an uncharacteristic mistake. By having only 4 members stay near the Baron, the Graves get caught super early on, and instead, they just end up losing the game entirely.
No, that was just...
Oh, it's disastrous.
That was just awful, really. We're seeing the complete limitations of the team composition right now. Atros just isn't able to do enough. He's not a Zed. He's not a talent or Evelyn.
And extremely close engage actually.
Moonlight Vigil comes out, but he hits him with the gravity. It's not going to do that much damage, and Malphite escapes.
Once Dragon comes up, this will be free for the senior team for sure. Considering the freshman team is forced to defend their base and clear out the minion waves. Oh, but we can see the enemy jungler, the Graves trying to position to contest for this Dragon. You can see the Blast Cone popping, and then they try to engage in the King. But King can stall
but King goes into the ultimate. No, we said teleport. It's a Malphite. It's Malphite. Now Malphite does not have his ultimate at the current moment, and they should be able to just drag the dragon out and just take it safely without having it contested. Graves also does not have a smite up at the current moment.
If Malphite is engaging here, there's not enough damage to try and follow up, so therefore, a great steal coming up from the Graves actually. But Velios cleans it up with his auto attacks as usual, and they turn this into a kill.
Now good charm. Already picked up the kill. And Atros is forced the ultimate out of there, just as good. And we could.
But this seems like a very bleak game for sure for the freshman team.
Unfortunately, the steal exactly didn't really do anything at the current moment because with the Baron minion, they were just able to end and.
Aphelios doing Aphelios things once again, killing the win very easily with his 8-kill lead and all 4 of his items, and this is an easy win for the senior team against Konex.
Oh. Very clean game. Very clean game coming out. Again, bot lane was just completely untouched. GG.
GG indeed.
And, honestly, we don't really be too surprised to see this kind of performance happen again in the next game.
Now we can see the damage chart in the rest of the game. It just kind of makes sense. I mean, the blue team couldn't do much. They had a few points in the game where they had some leads, but instead it ends up being a complete slaughter with Aphelios getting quite ahead. Easy win for Aphelios.
All right, like we said again, with Chris. They he just completely dominated the lane with the Aphelios, and the enemy team was just not able to get to him at all with the help of Tarek and the other characters.
Just a great showing by the senior team, and lots of mistakes stacking up by the freshman team. The freshman team had a lot of good moments in the early game, finding picks with the Aatrox, but once again, the Aatrox pick just gets outscaled completely by stronger late game picks such as Aphelios and more utility picks such as the Tarek and the Ari. Quite unfortunate for their team. I do want to see if the freshman team can pick more proactive picks and try and look for better picks in the game too, but we'll have to see about that.
I think instead of proactive picks, I do think that the freshmen should look for more scaling instead of trying to force these early game characters, because it puts a lot of pressure on them. It's like a ticking time bomb. If you with the Aatrox, if you don't do enough before he reaches 13, he hits his expiration date, and he's not able to make the impact that he could pre 13.
And we can see the champ select starting once again for the second game of the finals.
And I'll be coming out for now. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna be filling in R. Kelly's shoes. Okay.
I'll step out for this game, actually. If you can do solo.
All right, so the draft and the banning and the picking has started. It appears that Songnam Surfers has banned Mastery, Galio, and Vladimir, while the other team, Go Next, have banned Caitlyn, obviously because of Chris, Echo for the mid lane, and Lulu because Enchanter supports just enable the ADC too much. And we see that Songnam Surfers have first picked Zac. Zac has been a very good tool for the Songnam Surfers. He has been very impactful in the semifinal game against SKT T1, and I'm happy to see that they've gone with the pick again. I've also noticed that Cassidy is open, which means that I think there should be a pick. There should be a consideration for the Cassidy pick. They should. I believe that Gonex should consider either banning Cassidy or letting him open early on so that they can go with a counter pick later on. So we see the Gonex team pick Ornn, which is a pretty good pick, pretty good blind pick. Ornn is a strong tank; he can provide a lot for the team. And then they pick Ezreal again. I'm not sure how the Ezreal pick is going to go this time. The first game, it didn't go too well. I'm hoping to see a little bit more jungle and bot lane coordination, because there needs to be a way for Go Next to shut down the bot lane of the enemy team. And we're right now awaiting the second and third picks for Songnam Surfers. Okay, so they picked Jinx for the AD carry position. Jinx is a hyper carry compared to other ADCs. She pretty much sacrifices her laning phase and doesn't try to win lane like a Draven would or something else like that. Instead, tries to look and scale up for the late game, which is also pretty characteristic of the way that Chris picks. And then they pick up the Annie. So it looks like they're just going to not go with the Kassadin and go with the Agni pick instead. After all, Annie is the champion that Flying Flight is the most confident with, so I can totally understand that. And Kassadin has the potential to be a super carry, but he also has one of the worst matchup spreads in the entire game. So for those of you out there who are trying to learn Kassadin or thinking of picking him up, it's best recommended that you only use him as a counter pick because Kassadin is well known to have several counters. The most notable being Lucian mid, Zed mid, Talon mid, Pantheon mid, Renekton mid. Honestly, there's some people out there who decide to lane swap their top laner and mid laner just so that they don't have to, just so that they can try to crush the Kassadin before he becomes a late game scaling monster. With that said, though, I think Annie is the right pick here. So Annie is also really good at getting picks off the enemy team because when she has her stun up, it is very easy to just hide in a bush, make sure that the enemy team doesn't have vision of it, and when someone walks up, Annie can just press R, W, auto, Q, and then wipe out the squishy. We see the third pick for the Go Next team be Lee Sin. So far, the Go Next team have Ornn, Ezreal, and Lee Sin. So Lee Sin will probably be ganking a lot, trying to put pressure on the enemy jungle. We see the Songnam Surface team go with the Kassadin ban because it is a bit of a rough matchup for Annie, and you obviously don't want to give Kassadin too much leeway in the early game. You don't want him to just let him farm up. So I think Kassadin ban is a pretty decent choice. And the Go Next team bans Taric. Now, Taric was a complete thorn to their side. We saw that Taric was extremely low, but then Maicho managed to ult at the exact right time and just enabled the Philios to do damage without fear of getting damaged himself. And then the fifth ban is Darius, probably targeted at Dennis. And the last ban from Songnam Surface is going to be Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank is pretty annoying to play against, very annoying to play against. Once he hooks you, it's pretty much you need to use your summoner spells or you die. So Go Next respond with another hook-based champion, Thresh, which works okay. Ezreal Thresh isn't bad. It's not I wouldn't say it's the most optimal, but Ezreal Thresh is a perfectly competent bot lane for sure. And we'll see who the Songnam Surface team is going to pick. They picked Nautilus. Okay, so it's hook versus hook. This is going to be a pretty interesting bot lane. We saw that last time they went with an Enchanter support in Taric, but now they went with the Nautilus pick, so they're definitely going to this time play around getting vision, denying vision, and forcing the enemy team to dangerously step up and risk getting hooked by the Nautilus, getting picked off by the Annie ult, and the stun. So I think Nautilus works well into their team comp. And we had a fifth pick to be Fiora. Okay. Fiora is a pretty high skill ceiling champion, able to really make a lot of these plays. And especially against the Ornn where she can use her true damage, I think Fiora is a pretty decent pick.
All right.
Right now waiting for the Go Next team to pick their last champion, who is going to be their, I believe, mid lane. Still have not picked their mid laner yet. They've picked so far Ornn, Ezreal, Lee Sin, and Thresh. We might see something interesting, maybe like an Echo or a Syndra. That'll be pretty fun. Or maybe a Galio. I think Galio would work pretty well too.
Yeah, Galio, pretty good pick. And
they picked Garen.
That's
It's interesting. They might be It might be Orn top, Garen mid, or the other way around.
It's more likely to be an Orn mid and Garen top, surely.
Orn mid sounds pretty good. You can. It's hard to one shot an Orn, who obviously just soaks up easy magic damage with the Abyssal Mask. But one concern that I have is that the Go Next team clearly lack magic damage. They only have Orn, who doesn't even do magic damage half the time. More like 60-40 ratio of physical magical. And obviously Ezreal isn't really enough. So that's the one big concern I have with this team composition right here. I think they should have just gone with something like a Galio.
Yep. Yep. Alright, looks like we'll be going into the champion picks real soon right now. So, alright.
So it does look like it's going to be Garen top and Orn mid, like said.
Yeah. Now looking at this, senior team does have a very well-balanced team composition. We have Furo, who's probably going to be split pushing for most of the game. Jinx, Nautilus and Zac to engage onto the enemy. Annie as your random vanilla mage, and Jinx as your carry. Now again, I do feel like the freshman team just completely just do not have that much damage. They need to go through. They need to be able to go through the brick wall that is Hack, and then Nautilus in order to kill the Jinx. And there's just so much pressure on the Ezreal to really deal a lot of damage.
I think so too. I think the freshman team have a lot of weaknesses in their draft. You can see the Lee Sin is supposed to be an early game pick, but is going to be exclusively designated for the utility role as the game goes on. Orn, pretty much the same thing. Orn will do damage in the laning phase, but he's not going to be providing any damage really whatsoever come late game. So right now, what the freshmen have to do is they really have to make the Lee Sin pick work. They have to be very proactive with ganking and with counter jungling and denying resources from the enemy jungler. And that's the only way that I think they can win this.
Yet again, it's like a repeat of the last game almost. You have a scaling carry with Jinx this time in place of the Aphelios, and a top jungle mid trio for the freshman team. They're just not. They're kind of on a ticking time bomb at the moment. If they just can't do anything early on, then it's just kind of done.
I think this game is going to be dictated around vision, because if you look at the senior team, they have so many ways to catch someone out, catch an unsuspecting carry out, either with the Zac E, the Annie stun, or the Nautilus hook.
Yeah,
it's a very dangerous game that the freshmen are playing. Yeah. We'll just have to see how well they can grab vision around the jungle and the map.
No, well, that is true. Most aside from Ezreal, most of the characters on the freshman team are rather tanky. So if they somehow burn a lot of cooldowns on one character trying to just burst them down, they possibly could turn around, exploiting that.
No. So out of the matchups, I'm most interested to see how the top lane is going to go. Garen Fiora, pretty interesting matchup. I think there is a lot of margin of error that both teams that both top laners can commit. If Garen Qs and Fiora just gets that parry, it's going to be pretty tough for Garen because his E relies on attack speed. At the same time, if UR doesn't respect Garen's early spin damage and messes up her W, then Garen can just get an ultimate and get an easy kill and shut her down.
Now for the bot lane matchup with the current picks, it doesn't. I can't help but be a bit more. Still feel a bit pessimistic after last game, after we saw an Aphelios versus Ezreal matchup, and the Ezreal Leona just completely fell apart in lane. Couldn't do anything, and we could see another Ezreal yet again. Now, if they perhaps went for a Draven or a Lucian to just completely bully Chris out of lane early, that could have been an interesting change. But it looks like we might just see a repeat of last game for the bot lane.
So I'm expecting Garen and Ornn to both take teleport. I think Ornn should just get an early Bam Cinder, try to get wave clear, and then maybe look to roam bot lane because they really need to find a way to neutralize Chris's Jinx. Otherwise, as the game just goes on, it's just going to be a taller and taller mountain to climb.
Definitely, and it looks like we'll be heading into the game at the current moment.
So let's check the summoner spells.
Summer
and the
spells and the
runes.
runes. Get right into it.
We might see Garen take Ignite. It might be possible. Garen might just take Ignite to try to forcefully win the laning phase.
I mean, if they take teleport in the top lane, all they're gonna do is just like teleport back to lane anyway. To be completely honest, no flame.
Teleport is just a pretty hard summoner spell to use.
Most of the time, people just use the teleport back to lane after getting bullied up, and then
Like
your bot
me.
lane's, and then your bot lane's like, 이 새끼 진짜 포켓 맞았네. Top laner 포켓 맞았어. GG. Game's doomed. Oh, looks like.
Okay, apparently there is a technical error where people are getting stuck on. They're not even in the loading screen because their screen is black. And the same should go for the stream, so.
Yep. So you've been watching Worlds?
But we've been watching Worlds? Yeah, that for sure. Even though it's just a play-ins, I'm pretty interested to see who can make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. And what's this? It looks like LGD lost yet again.
What? How bad is LGD? Who did they lose to? Unicorns of Love.
Yeah.
Oh
Both.
my.
Dude,
So is LGD out of Worlds now?
No, I don't think so. Man, honestly, at this point, I think you can maybe like just put like Chris's team against LGD. They might win. Honestly, no blame, no blame. Man.
Man, LGD, they're the king of choking
Yeah.
in Worlds.
Oh, they choke.
They're
just
so
like,
bad.
They literally choke like how Man City chokes in Champions League. God damn, dude. They choke harder than Raheem Sterling that one miss. You're just like, oh.
I remember that. I remember seing that miss.
Yeah. It just went up all the way to the damn moon. That shot. Like damn.
Didn't people? I remember I watched Yamato Cannon's video on the top 5 players going into Worlds for each position.
Yeah.
I saw that he rated Peanut at level number 6, I believe, rank 6. And so far, I think he's not even looking like top 20. Honestly, he's just been consistently underperforming.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad to see that someone who used to be as prodigious as Peanut is just kind of fallen off.
I guess his brain right now is peanut sized. I'm sorry. Hey, what's your stance on R. Kelly right now?
My stance on R. Kelly, I think
Yeah.
I think he should be freed.
He should be free. Yeah.
I think people are just harping on R. Kelly just because he's a black man.
Listen, I'm just saying, like R. Kelly should just be free, just because he made Ignition remix, you know.